had to go into hospital. His father-in-law, sorry, this afternoon, so he had to can it. So, but if you want to come to Friday, he's here from I think 8 till 4:30 or 5. So Matt's his name, okay? He's the man. Anyhow, we'll get back onto our job. So, we're fishing light. So we're not fishing anything over about 30 pounds, maybe 40, 50 if you fish up the reef doing this sort of thing on not snapper but other stuff. But this scenario we're talking about today works everywhere, okay? It doesn't matter if you're out here chasing snapper, up north chasing coral trout even, or down south chasing snap or whatever. It works everywhere. It's just a technique that you need to understand how it works. And then using the different types of styles of fishing in that situation that you're going to be doing. So I'll start at the rods and reels. So how many people here prefer overhead to spin? Okay. Okay.
Got overheads.
Yeah, I mean, as in for slow pitch jigging, like some people just like just the action, right? So I'll start at that part first. We'll put more into the spinning side after that. So use a fairly light rod in all this situation, actually. And the rods you're going to use on, say, let's just say a Lacanis type jig, like that type of thing there, or a slow pitch jig, that type of thing there, that needs to be relatively light, okay, for it to work. Opposite to soft plastic. So you could use a soft plastic on this type of rod, but it's quite soft. So when you put an ounce jig head on, it's going to be all over the joint, right? But this is really, really good for Lacanis jigs and slow pitch jigging. So the rod's quite soft. It's 5'6" to 6'3" long is generally the length. There are some longer ones down there that are 6'8". The reels are quite small. Okay, it's a little 1500, the new little jigger Torium. Okay, these have a lock on it, same as the bigger brother, the Ocean jigger, but just a lot more priceable in comparison, about half the price. That has about 300 meters of 20-pound braid or 30-pound braid. Okay, that's one of the deals we have later, but that's the sort of thing. We'll have these later. This is another style in a low profile. Okay, this is a new type of reel. So this one has a counter on it and it's digital. Okay, and it's accurate. So if you see the fish in the water column, say in 50 meters deep and they're arched up, or whatever they may be, in about 40 meters deep or 30 meters deep, as you're going down, and people don't realize if you're using quite a heavy jig, you can actually jig on the fall as before you actually jig on the way up. And by doing that, you just put your thumb on the spool, take off, thumb on the spool, take it off, and it burns out under your thumb. They've hit it on the fall down, and you click the handle straight into gear. And that works the same on spin, but spin you need to use your fingers to grab it. It's a technique that has been very popular in Japan, and Shimano brought out, if you ever use, any of you guys know, there's a the top of the range jigging reel is called an Ocean Jigger Slow Fall. It's a one that actually has a lever, so it's dropping down. You put the brake on, you put the brake on the lever rather than using your thumb, because you might get a burnt thumb, right?
Is that the one that's in that glass?
Yeah, the brown one, mate, the black one down there.
That's I bought that last.
Yeah, Joe?
Sorry,
Yeah, well, that's the duck's guts. You got a nice reel. Yeah, so.
the one time last week too.
They were. No, it's always on sale for you guys. But anyhow, so this one here has a digital readout. So as I was saying before, when it's falling down and the fish are arched up at say 38 meters to 45 meters, and that's 50 meters to the bottom, right? At that 38 meter area, you then, as it's falling down, you stop it. Like every sort of, I guess, 2 or 3 times in 10 meter in one colour. So you stop it every 2 meters the way down. And that what's happening is the jig's going down, and when you stop it, that skirt's particularly tennis jigs is going to flutter, and they just smack it. So much better than just free falling. So, and if you ever, I'm going to taught you guys before, but if you're ever using a sabiki for catching yakas and salamis, you get so many more fish if you do that on the way down rather than hit the bottom and just jerk it. It's a very similar scenario what we're doing tonight for the snapper, but we're working on through the fish on the way down through the column. So yeah, it has a counter on it, digital counter. It lights up at night. Also good for other things too, but that's one of the things you can use it for. Okay, that's another combo. And then to go into the spin stuff. So that's the sort of overhead type combos without going into the elaborate type real estate equipment. In the spin, most people would use similar type rod again, very soft rod. This one's actually a tiny bit heavier, not much heavier. Just a nasty 5,000. So your reel needs to be able to handle maybe perhaps catching a 90 centimeter snap or whatever. So quality wise, like under $200, that's probably the real. That's the real price. It's $160 or $170 over there. The quality needs to be around that. Of course, you got other stuff's going to jump on. You got Kings, you got Cobia, anything decent. If you drop down just a cheapy little reel, it'll probably get the guts ripped out of it. So when you're jigging, you get a little bycatch, but you get a lot of bigger stuff as well. Okay. So that's the 5,000 size is the size we use and recommend. And again, we've got about 300 meters at 20 or 30 pound braid on there, depending on the quality of the braid. Okay. And that's it. So that's the style. And then we go into soft plastic. So that's more your Lacanis, slow pitch jigs, and say vibing. Like you can use vibes on stiff rods too, but squid tracks or fish tail, whatever you want to use, whatever you try. And then we go to the style, which is like a flatty rod, but just a slightly bit bigger, right? So this is like a soft plastic top rod. So the tip's a lot more crisp. So when you want to work the plastic jumps. You don't want the tip to bend down, which they may on that type of rod. You can still use that type of rod, but there'll be a bit more delay in the rod and not much action in the lure down there. So you want to choke it, you want that lure to dance. Okay? And you're using it a bit differently. This rod you're going to be casting more. So you might cast your lure up current or upwind with the wind, into the wind, downwind, sorry, with the wind. And then your boat's going to drift back to it, and you're letting it free fall in down to the position, and then working it back. If you still land on the bottom, up from where the boat's not drifted to yet, and then you'll work it back along the bottom.
So when you say cast, everybody cast off your boat.
Try and cast at about the depth at least. So if you're in 30 meters, you want to try and do a 30 meter cast or a 40 meter cast. Leave the bar arm open straight away. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot more slow falling because it's got to pull itself down. But if you've got it, the bar arm open, it'll free fall pretty well in that spot now. It'll still come back to you, but hardly doesn't move at all. And people go, oh no, it comes back to the boat, but that's not true because the boat's actually moving to in the wind or the current, or it might be. Yeah, so it actually falls pretty well where you'd throw it to. So if you are fishing, say, Harrison's Reef, and you've got X boat on your sounder there, and you want to cast, you know where it is, you've marked it on your sounder, and it's 50 metres or 40 metres up from you, and the current's going that way. So always cast it the way you're going to drift to, and try and land nearly in that position, if that makes sense. You're casting 50 metres, it's 50 metres away. It's pretty well going to fall on top of where the fish are on top of the wreck. And then by the time you get to it, by the time it hits the bottom, unless you've got a really big sinker or a big jig head, it's all about timing. Yeah.
So spot locking, if the
Spot locking, yeah.
if you
So
drop it straight down,
complete opposite. So it's dropped straight down if you've got too much current. If you've got current, reverse current, you'll need to cast the back of the boat, and then opposite if you've got current going that way. So you just got to, and it will take, to be honest, it takes me about 2 to 3 casts to suss it out spot on. And you might even change your jig head, mate, because the jig head is not getting down fast enough, and you're going past the fish before it actually gets to the zone. So you'll need to up the ante and quickly change the jig head. There's so many things you need to understand, but if you do what we're saying so far, you should catch fish. So that's 5,000 Banford on a Gary Howard carbon rod. So it's a nice little combo, that one. And again, I think it's got a very thin 30-pound braid on that one. And this is just the same sort of version, but just the cheapest version. Again with the Nassie and a 13 rod. That's on one of the ones on deals tonight. So any questions on the gear at all? So your spin rods for your plastics can be around that 7 foot in length. 6'6" to about 7'6", 7'10" max.
Is that the same with the vibes as well?
Yeah, same with the vibes, same deal. Yeah, exactly.
Bit of a stiffer
Yeah,
vibe,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah, again, you want it to sort of dance. They don't have much happening in fluttering type stuff
Yeah, that's
or shine or whatever. It just had no quiver, but only to that little bit. Yeah, it's just a movement, mate. Yeah. So again, the whole objective of the vibe is you want to lift it and get the on the way up and then swing it back down. But if it's too soft, you don't get the lift through. But
it just sits there.
correct. Oh, it moves, but not much. Yeah. Okay. Just want to tell you quickly about braids. So it is really important to use a very thin braid for the size when you're doing this type of stuff. I'll pass a few of these around, but this is the sort of thing I'd recommend. This is 20 pounds in a DIY. Very nice line, super thin, and that's the sort of one you probably want to keep it around that 20 pound in case you do get a big snap like 10 kilos on. You want to at least try and see it. And then that's a 4-ply, and I'm going to pass the 8-ply around. So, what do you all know what 4 and 8-ply means? So, one's got 4 strands around each other. The old days, and still these days, the cheaper braids, they're like rope, and they're the ones when it runs through your finger, just all straight through your finger, right? The 8-ply is more like, feels like mono, especially the better ones, because it's so round and so perfect, and much more limper. This one actually has a silicone coating on it. It actually feels like mono. In comparison, you feel a little bit bumpy on that one. This one's a bit heavier.
Will the 8-ply supersede the 4-ply eventually?
No, I don't think so, because it's a bit of a price point.
Okay.
So one's like, say, $39-40, and one's like $69-80. So yeah, these ones are coming in 200 meters too instead of 150. So they're just borderline okay for fishing out to say 70 meters deep, even 100 on a good day. Yeah. But always get 2 things. Always get coloured line, like every 10 metres when you're fishing snapping. Okay? There's like paramount stuff. And then secondly, try and get the thinnest braid for the biggest thickness, diameter, poundage that you can get.
So is the 8-ply thinner?
It is. Yeah, and then as you get, then there's 8-ply, then there's 8-ply. Does that make sense? So some will feel still a bit ropey, some will feel like that, but feels like mono.
You had one that was, I think you gave to my boy.
Yes.
Like it was a 14 pound. That was just when we were doing the flathead thing.
Yes.
And it was
7 pound diameter or something.
something like that.
Yeah, correct.
And it was like
That's a good one.
double the.
Yeah, well, they do a 4-ply on that one too. So the better brands like Daiwa, Shimano, or Sunline, whatever, do nearly, these days it's nearly half. So, but the cheaper brands or the ones that want to, say guys fishing up barrafish, that thickness is not too important, but toughness on logs and rocks is. So they haven't changed their thinking. The Japanese way is to go super thin, strong.
Yeah.
The American way is to stay thin but be strong. If that makes sense. Feel like in the trucks, I guess. Yeah.
What's the silicone coating for?
Yeah, silicon coatings for, so the SI stands for silicon incorporate, I think, but it's a coating so it casts better. So when you're casting your plastics, if you run an SI line which has got that sort of feel to it, it will cast it on, they say around 10-15% further the same way. So, and it also doesn't retain water into it.
Yeah.
It doesn't soak it up. Even though it's fine.
Less friction and longevity.
Yeah, correct. That's right. Yeah, all the above. And the other thing too, especially with these new divers, they have this little muscle guy at the front of it, pictured, muscle piggy they call it. But what that means is it is about 300% stronger than most braids against the rubbing. So they're finally getting it at that point now where it's a Japanese braid that's got the American toughness, but the Japanese thinness. It's just never ending. But yeah, it's really good stuff.
So at what point do you get wind knots when you go deep?
Yeah, so the SI gets a lot less wind knots. It doesn't seem to catch. And the problem with wind knots happens when you're not winding your line back on the reel tight enough. Particularly if you cast out and you might just wind up with a slack without holding through your finger, whatever, just wind it on there. That's the night you get caught on the next cast. So it's always best to wind it either through your fingers if you've got a bit of loose line till you take up slack, rather than just wind it on the spools. That's 90% of wind knots is caused from that point. Yeah. But if you've got tension on there all the time, you should rarely get a big knot.
How long
and-
was it before you changed the line? What's the
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like, so if if you leave your rod stay inside the house in the UV light, whatever it might be, I'd probably say once every 2 years maybe.
Oh, okay.
Still fairly long.
Yeah.
Or one and a half years maybe. But if you got it stored in the garage or whatever, 3 or 4 years is fine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And the other thing too is you will find if you don't use your line for a while, UV still gets to it, right? And you'll find the top like 10 meters is like a bit out of colour and a bit sort of tatty.
Yeah.
Just cut it off. Like if you lose 20 meters, there's nothing really. Just cut it off.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is, and that's expensive, but like that sort of brand there, in the Dyer one, the better one, they do a 12EX, which is even better again. So it's 12 ply, so 8 ply, not super thin again. But the because the lines get so thin, and we've got to half fill the reels for the same size reel, it normally takes in the cheaper lines or the thicker lines, only takes like 250 meters. They'll now take like 400 meters or more. So they now do 400 meter rolls. So which is really good. So you can cut off 20 meters and you don't even know it's gone. You know, you get wrapped around the prop or whatever. Keep fishing. Yeah. Okay. Next thing is leader. So again, I say golden rule just about 100% is to use FC when you're fishing on the snapper because they're very good at getting you down the reef. Okay, the big ones. And FC just is a lot more tolerant to rocks and abrasion. So if you're using say 30 pound, you're equivalent to about 50 pound mono for abrasion resistance. But 50 pounds a lot thicker. So we don't want to use 50 pound. Yeah, stronger, but you don't necessarily need it. 30 pounds about the same strength as your line, or a bit more, and it is enough. You don't need any more. The only time you need any more is if you were using, say, a 20,000 Stella and 50 or 80 pound braid and going hell for leather, then I'd go up to 80 or 100, you know. But for what we've got here, that's ample. So at the most, I'd let it go be 40. Okay. And if you're going to go to plain mono, you can't really use under 40. 40 or 50 is what you've got to use. If you don't want to use fluorocarbon. If you've got fluorocarbon in your bags, give it a crack if you haven't tried it. All right. Okay. How long the leader do we use? Look, that's personal, and that depends particularly if you're using soft plastics. I hate having the knot down my rod. Stewie loves having the knot down his rod. He says he ties better knots than me. It's not here just covering himself at the moment, but
He gave me 2 rod length
yeah, there you go.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he loves it. Yeah, he'll go at least one.
With an FG.
FG, yeah, I only use FG now as well. Like, if you are not good at tying FGs and you're doing uni knots, not the uni knots, you can use a double uni knot, but if you do an Albright, it will catch every now and then through the guides, right? You've got to trim it off so close, but that close can sometimes come undone if you go too close. And my suggestion is to learn to do the FG knot. Simple as that. Does anyone not know FG knot? I'd say quite a few probably
You
tell.
get an FG whiz.
What?
You get an FG whiz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that one.
Is there still any place for wide non-leaders?
Look, there is, but it had to be quite thin, mate. It had to be quite thin.
Yeah.
So maybe like 40 pound maximum, 20. The trouble is, wide-ons, you can cut them down shorter, but they're a bit chunky on where the jack line is. Like, it's like doubles its thickness sort of thing in that area. So on the spool, it's a bit chunky because they're only little reels.
Yeah.
And you're not using mega size weight to pull that off. That's the other problem you got.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So yeah, it's nice and neat to come out through the guides, but that's about its advantage. The rest is disadvantage. So definitely the heavy stuff. Yeah, I'm jigging for big kingies or and jacks or saps or whatever. I only use windons.
Yeah.
This is strong. Yeah. Okay. So how do we attach the lures? That's up to you guys. So there is. I don't know if you got little fast attach clips in your bag. You might have.
They're in there.
Yeah, size 2 is what I use when I go use jigs, this sort of thing. Size 2 breaks at about 35 pounds, so it's all relative. Your braid, your leader, and your clip are all about the same. They're little tiny black clips. The beauty of them is if you're impatient or that colour's not working, rather than sitting there cutting and retying and getting seasick in the swell or whatever, you just go like that and put a new one on. So as quick as that, 1.5 turn. Very quick. And look, I don't think it really makes much difference on the bite. The only thing is that some areas it doesn't work. So if you're running like cannon sticks that have the loop pulled through, and you haven't put a split ring or a solid ring on the end of that, you can't clip it on. It doesn't work that good. Just clip it to braid or whatever. So you got to really tie it, or you just put loops on, put little rings on. I'll tell you what I mean. A little pass. There you go. Pass this around. So we talk about this later. But you'll notice this doesn't have a swivel. I've just got to actually show you this one here. It's got just a loop on the end. So you've actually got to put a swivel or split ring on that once you thread it through the ball jig to attach that clip to it. If that makes sense. Yeah. Anyhow, but just learning to tie a perfection loop so that's on all your lures. You all know how to do that?
What was it?
Perfection loop.
Yeah.
It's just like a granny's knot through the lure, back through the granny's knot. Just do like a long,
2 or 3 twists.
yes, just back through again. And when you do it, hold the loop so it's about the size of your fingernail. So that's as big as that loop should be above the lure.
That's cool.
It's like a non-slip loop knot, you mean?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
It's similar to the barlight.
It's got a lot of different names. Perfection loop is what it's generally called back in the day, and still is, I think. But there has been.
Just so it's got movement. Really.
So yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
On that loop, mate.
Yeah.
Exactly. Stuart hates it. He ties direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I find that the lure has better action, particularly like cannons and stuff. It really dances around on that loop. Yeah. And that's the beauty of those fast attach clips. It's got a loop on the end, so it dances around that too, right? Yeah. Any questions on that so far? All good? All good? Okay. That it. Let me tell you on that. Let's go through the tools real quick before we go through all this. Scents. There's scents now. So there's so many different scents on the market, right? My favourite by far is still S Factor, by far. I put it on everything except my Lecanus, because the skirts get stuck and they don't work as good. So if you're going to put the Lecanus, I put it on around the head part, but not on the skirts. And it won't fall down to the skirts, so it's safe. Or you put a little bit of a smear maybe on the hooks, but the hooks won't pass on to the skirt. You have to have that skirt floating as much as you can. Has anyone here not used the Lecanus top jigs? You haven't? Okay, that's interesting to know. They are the most easiest one to use to catch a snake. And they catch themselves. They catch the fish themselves in the world.
And what depth don't you matter? Does it matter what depth?
No, not at all. I've used them in 12 metres to 200 metres.
Do you put bait? You don't put bait on it?
No, you don't need to.
Dropping it head.
No, just the action in the bottom of that skirt floats, but actually you don't have the S factor on the skirt or any scent. Yeah. So S factor is my go-to. I'll pass it around. Another one has anyone used the Berkeley one yet? Yeah. It's very messy. It's very good though. But it's just very sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets on the handle of your reel, onto the grips of your rods. But it works. Anyhow, probably pass it. And this is Stewie's favourite bait pot. It's an American one. It's quite expensive. It does smell very much like aniseed on all of them, but it's quite clever. It has a sparkle in most of them, and when that sparkle dissipates off the lure, it's time to redo it again. Okay.
Yeah, I'll use something.
Other tools that trade, you can get like spike it pens. These are little pens. So if you've got a white soft plastic and you want to put a bit of red around the gills, or put a red stripe to the side, or a green stripe, whatever, or a pink stripe, you can do that with that particular thing. But if you use like any other pens, it comes off. It won't work. Doesn't attach to the material they're made out of. It just doesn't work. These do. Okay, they're made for lures. Split ring pliers. I'd recommend you have a good pair of split ring pliers in the boat. This one here is expensive but very, very good one. It does, generally, we have 3 size split rings. So like 0 or double 0, say to size 2 or 3, which is really tiny ones, right? Which is the size that's what here coming around. That's the 0.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have size sort of 3 to 5 or 6, which is your general type, looks like this type of stuff, and also all your hard bodies and whatever else. And then we have like size 6 to size 10 or 9, so 9's where things go, which is your like dogtooth tuna, GT, big top stuff, right? That's the size 8 coming around now. So rather than have 3 pair of pliers, this one does everything. It's Japanese again, but it does size 0 to size 9, and it does be tested at size 0 to 9. But you need a good pair of split ring pliers. Last thing, UV torch. Having UV torch on the boat, particularly if you're fishing a bit deeper water around 60 metres, I charge up always my sinkers, my Lumo, whatever, with the UV, it's the blue torch. Okay?
You've got that here?
Yeah, we do. This one's like the Taj Mahal. The boys always taser me at the end of this. it has a little taser burn on the end. You can see that.
Why?
So all your knots.
Oh,
You just go and burn the knot off so it flares and doesn't pull through. So if you do dodgy knots, real good. Sorry.
the ending nuts.
So you don't.
I'll pass it around, but please don't chase yourself.
Sorry, Dave, how much are they?
They're about, good question actually. I think up to you guys around $40 or something. $38.
Because I've seen them on YouTube and
Yep.
they use them on the squid racks,
Yep.
the Nomad.
Oh, you can just see the UV torch is much cheaper. Look at those downstairs too. They're like
Oh, yeah.
10 or 12, $15.
Yeah.
But they got the UV. They're rechargeable.
But you don't chase
You got the burner, and they're good for the ladies with the taser. There's a little bit of buzz. Where was the guys that was getting me? Anyhow, but they're not meant for that. They're meant to be for fishing, for doing knots and for using the UV light.
Just to clarify, you're saying recharging with the UV. So what are you?
So what you're doing is you're enhancing. So example is I'll turn the lights a bit later. I'm going to run down this table, get you guys to look around and see how UV works.
Yeah.
So it's the light spectrum that we don't see, but the fish do see.
Yeah.
And it's what really turns them on and makes them want
Okay.
to eat or whatever it does.
Yeah. So you're throwing Lumo down.
Correct, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot. I reckon it doesn't necessarily mean Lumo. It means it's UV enhanced paint, so or whatever it might be. So it doesn't actually glow.
Yeah.
But if you put a UV torch on it,
Yeah.
it's UV enhanced. Where a lot of these products won't have any UV on it, and we put the torch on, it does nothing.
Yeah.
But the ones that UV on will stand out like
Okay.
Yeah. So and glow stuff, it makes it recharges very quick.
Yeah.
Very quick.
Sorry, at what depth is the?
I think UV works everywhere. We use it for flatties. Like UV definitely outdoes other non-UV most of the time in 2 foot of water or 3 foot of water. But in the Lumo side of things, around 60 metres, 100 metres is where it starts to get dark. 180, 200 metres, it's getting dark. Yeah. So, and we're catching snapper a lot of the time. We do deep jigging as well. So like 280, 260 metres and catching decent snapper as well. Slow pitch jigging, but with more this type of thing, but in about a 200 gram version of it. Okay, it's flutter type jig. Yeah, but only using very light outfits like this. Okay. We do a lot of fishing too, and for snapper and pearl is in 120 to 140 meters using like the canvas jigs, and we catch so many snapper on using that depth. Most people don't go that thinking snapper don't go there, but they go out to nearly 300 meters. Yeah. Okay. I think that's about. Oh, one last thing on tools. Icky spike. Keep your snapper fresh. Really important. So use a spike, a brain spike, and you spike it just to the side of the temple. That makes sense. So where the top of his gill is at the point's about right there between that top of that gill and his eye. Go in there. Okay. When you go in, he'll curl up, and that's it. He's done. And he's got a really good colour. The colour will go from a whitey dull to a vibrant reddy orange colour.
Do you bleed them?
Look, if you brain spike, it's not necessary, but we still cut the gills. Yeah, we do.
So you-
Yeah, so I don't actually cut the whole throat. I use shears, and just cut one side of his gill off inside. Either doesn't matter which side. Yeah, and ice slurry. Next thing is really important. Yeah, snapper are beautiful eating, but they're not if you have them sitting out in the sun without any other work done to them. They're still okay, but they're not as good. Okay, any questions or anything so far? Everyone's good? Cool. Okay, no one's tasered themselves. Everyone's safe, good. Okay, so Stewie's still coming. I don't know where he is. He coming, Stewie? I don't know, he's watching the TV. He'll be there somewhere. But guys, so next thing is going to be talking about the gear. Did you taste yourself?
Taste this, because I tried one now.
Okay. I'll start at I'll start at the downriggers. We'll do the hardest part first. So, how many people have used downriggers before? No one? Who wants to do downrigger for snapper or crack? Maybe? Yeah, so we've got a few guys that's all they do. They just downrigger for snapper and they're out on the 24 fathom reef out or 18 fathoms. So, say 30 to 50 metres deep. And this, if you can see that at the back there, it's about so big. It has a handle on it with wire, but we take the wire off, or we put on top. We put braid on top, so we use braid as a downrigger line, and it's about 150 to 200 pounds, and about 100 meters on there. And then on the end of that, we have a big ball bearing snap swivel, and we put about a 10-pound downrigger bomber, which is downstairs. And on the front of that bomber has a little loop on one end, it's about this big. A loop on the other end. The top end, the snap swivel of this thing goes onto it, and then on the other end, we use a little bit of like cord. It's called DAP rod, but about that long. And on our line, what we do is we work out again, look at the sounder, working out the depth that they're averaging sitting in. So you might be 50 meters deep, they're down 35 to 38, 40 meters. We drop our downrigger down to about 30 because they'll come up 10 meters or 5 meters to your lure. Okay. And then what we do is, so we do what we call a drop back. So before we do that, we'll actually drop the line out about 20 meters first with the lure on it. And then we tie a size number 16 rubber band onto the line, wrap it around, hold the end, and then pull that loop through the other loop. Right? And then the downrigger weights hang off this bomb. This is sitting in the best way to put it. They do have a mount that goes under the boat, but that's the best way. If you take it anywhere around the boat, it sits in a rod holder. It sits on that at the back of the boat, right? So it's sitting there, and then behind that is your rod holder with the rod in it. They do have a rod holder on it, but we just don't. Oh, this sort of light stuff, so I don't trust them doing it. But you can sit in the rod holder somewhere in the proximity of this, and the boom comes out maybe probably around about nearly a metre. So what we do is the line that's hanging off the ball, we attach it to the rubber band. This with a half hitch. Simple as that. That bit of braid with a bit of DAP rod with a half hitch. And then you pull the lever on your bait cast or whatever, or pull the bail open, and slowly unwind the handle on that backwards. That releases the drag on the downrigger, and they both go down together at the depth. You've got to counter on this thing. When it's down at 30 meters, that's what I'm going to stop it at. Okay. I then wind the handle forward on this thing, and it locks in, and my rod's just sitting there loose. What I do then is I wind the handle on my reel until the rod starts to load up with the weight of the ball. Okay, the lure's sitting 20 meters behind it, just doing its own thing. And then what happens is, so your rod's like that at the back of the boat, and you're trolling really slow as you can go. I just as you do normally for flatties, whatever, or mackerel, whatever, with bases. You troll it like 1 or 2 knots. And then what happens is when the fish strikes at the lure, the rod actually flicks up. It's a reverse roll to normal when it bends over, right? It flicks up. That's when you know you've got a strike. Okay, and then the band generally breaks when that happens, and someone will wind that up, and you'll play the fishing. And you take the first couple of winds, you go quite quick to take up this stuff, and it's all happening. Does that make sense? But the beauty of it is you can cover a lot of ground and you find new grounds. It's a bit like trolling as well, trolling for mackerel, but you're covering the bottom and your lure's surfing above the bottom everywhere, and you get a lot of fish, and they're always good quality, rarely under 50 centimetres, and average is probably about 60 or 65, 70, 80, big ones. but it's a little bit expensive to get into. Does anyone have electric reels besides Pete? You have electric reels at all?
Yeah, I'll go on.
Okay, go on. So electric reels are really good. We sell a little downrigger rod downstairs. It's a cheaper alternative, but better than this thing because you can actually push the button and it winds itself up while you're playing fish. They can get silent, right?
I got you.
Downrigger rod's about less than $300.
Can they be a pain in the ass if you're solo?
No, not if you got electric reel.
You'll have that down. It's not-
Correct. And you got light lines, so you can't control it.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a pain. You still get, hopefully, the fish is still 20 minutes behind, remember, but when you get a close proximity, you try to one hand like this and hold the right hand like this, one left hand on the other one, it's quite hard. But, yeah, the electric reel, like little electric reels to go, the one that you use for normal fishing, you just take off your deep drop rod or whatever and put it onto the downrigger rod and it just drops straight right off, it's got a bent butt. And just sits on there, you just put the ball on the end of that. As long as you're using around about sort of 80-pound braid, it won't work under, actually might snap it. Because the weight's quite heavy, right, 10 pound. And that's how it all works. And you just constantly following the contours of the reef, trolling this lure. And that's how it works. If they do come with a clip. So the old style was to use a clip and you just rub down your line or you just do a couple of loops on the line and put it, like I said, car points. It's got like a little adjuster here and you put it in there, it grabs the line and that's it. But the problem is when you got a bit of swell and you surge down the swell in the boat and you're go from 1 or 2 knots to 4 knots, it breaks and pops out. It pops out of the thing clip. So we use the rubber band with the cord system. The other thing too is when you're using a downrigger, you've got to use a lure that's shallow diving, not so much deep diving. Semi-deep's not too bad, but anything with a big bib on it, like let's say it's probably the Reddix, like that type of thing. I'll pass that around, and then I'll pass this around. It doesn't. The deep ones don't work because they're constantly breaking that rubber band or breaking whatever. There's too much force on it. So when you got a shallow bib lure, it's still swimming beautifully, doing everything that the deep bib does, but it doesn't need to dive deeper because you've already got the downrigger down there, right? So you go to the shallow lures, less traction on the line. Yeah. So and anything on downrigger from that size lure up to about that size is perfect for snapper. Bright colours are really good, like this type of thing.
What is the downrigger weigh?
The downrigger itself is only probably around about maybe 5 kilos or 6 kilos. So 7 kilos. Sorry.
It just goes in your auto. I mean,
Yeah, you buy that part there as an extra, and it bolts onto that, and then just drops into any rod holder. Or if you can tuck down your mate's boat, you just grab a downrigger for his boat, rather than have it fixed. I had fixed on my boats for many years, but when this come out, it was the greatest thing ever. Yeah. But now I use the electric. Electrics to go because I can just push the button, then it knows to stop at a certain height next to the water. So it actually even set it to stop at, say, 2 meters, so it doesn't bang against the side of the boat if it's a bit rough, whatever. It'll just drag it on the water next to the boat. Really good. Yeah.
would you use a downrigger in very shallow reefs?
Totally, yeah. So look, the other option is you use like a deep diving lure going around, right? So that'll get down like 6 or 8 meters if you're using that sort of thinner line, which is probably if you say in. I was going to ask how deep would you use the downrigger to, or how shallow, sorry. With lures, the deeper diving lures like one going around will get down about 6 to 8 meters, maybe even 10. If you drop it back a fair bit and goes, get the right speeds, it's before it blows out of the water, but it's at its maximum diving capabilities, and fish will then come up, say 10 meters up to that line. So you can actually probably fish deep diving lures to about 20 meters. They don't get down 10 meters. So I would say 20 meters no, but you could use it in 10 with the shallow type of thing. Yeah, that makes sense. You don't want to get the ball. We had so many customers get the ball caught on the bottom they drop it down too much, or there's a big pinnacle, they forget about it.
Next questions.
And this now gets ripped out of the rod hole.
Yeah.
How much is the downrigger?
They're up there about. Have a look. This is made in States, so these are good ones. Around about probably 700 and something. Yeah. So you can buy an electric reel nearly for that, and do more with it. Yeah, you got to buy the rod though. But then again, you got to buy that. So that's like $100 or $200.
You're really selling this downrigger.
Sorry, look.
But you're really selling this downrigger.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't want, we sell a lot of downriggers, but we sell a lot more electrics, and guys just buy the rod and just have 2 rods and switch. Particularly mackerel time, because you can't do a deep drop in mackerel time, it's too much current. So everyone uses the electrics now for downriggers. And when Penn brought out this downrigger rod, it's the best thing ever. Yeah, because previously you couldn't put a 10-pound weight on any rod because it would just bend like ridiculously bad. And it was out of control and bouncing all over the place and just ugly and dangerous. But this thing goes like that.
Steve.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So any questions on that at all, guys? You're good on that? Okay, good. Okay. Stewie is coming. You're not going to start with that. So the next thing I'll go into, we've done the lures. We'll probably go into Lucanus. I love Lucanus fishing. And as I said, it's probably the easiest way to catch snapper. And you can use it from 10 meters to, as I said, 200 meters. And the weights vary. They can be from 10 grams. Actually, we've got micro ones that are in 1 gram and 2 grams. Different story, but talking about snapper. But in the snapper scene, 15 grams right in close, say 20 meters, 30 meters deep, would be the lightest you'd use. And that's usually in like 20-pound braid. Up to whatever depth. So it varies by about 10 to 15 grams per size, or 20 grams size. So like 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 150, 200. As they get bigger, they get that jump quite quick. And right up to, I think we've got something that might be 300 grams. So it's all relevant to the depth, which is normally about a meter a gram. So 80 grams up to 80 meters deep on a good day. That's it on a good day. So 100 grams, 100 meters, 120, 120 meters. Does that make sense? So if I'm fishing out the frontier on snapper off the seaway, I'm generally using around about 40 to 60 grams. It doesn't matter if they're a bit heavy, but it does matter if they're a bit too light. It doesn't work very good. So better to go bigger than smaller. Does that make sense? So I up the ante by about 50%. That's just what I like. So if I'm fishing 40 meters, I'm using 60. If I'm fishing 65 meters at 36 fathoms, I'm using about 100 grams. Does that make sense? And it falls better, it works better, better action. There are so many types, like you see them all in there, but there's tungsten ones. Now, do you know the difference between tungsten and lead, guys? The tungsten's like a lot easier to fall because it's half the size or 2/3 the size of a lead, same weight. Does that make sense? So even though it's the same weight, it's falling a lot quicker because it's just no resistance. So a lot smaller. But it's expensive. It's like at least double the price of the same lure and lead. And it's even the same brand. So up to you guys. But they still get caught on the bottom easy. Okay. Popular brands, like we sell everything, but originally Lucanus, that was one of the original ones that came out. It still is one of the best ones. It was that good. The Shimano dropped that and went for the Baku styles in Japan, right? Which goes out to the world. The Baku are very good, and it's a completely different style. So these ones here, the hooks are fixed to the. I'll pass these two around a minute. The hooks are fixed to the lure, and the Baku, you actually thread your line through the hole and tie it on the rig at the bottom. Does that make sense? So it's a sliding type. So you can actually have it does actually pop on there fixed. You can actually push it and lock it in, like that style. But that one doesn't come off. It's on there forever. Or you can have it sliding on the line. Why do you have it sliding on the line? The movement's much more active. So rather than have to dance the whole thing around, it actually moves with the line, and it's all over the joint, and the fish love it. Okay, but everyone wanted this one back, so they're doing both now. That's in Shimano. Let's do that. Perfect time. Okay.
I like having them fixed on the line.
You'll hear Stu's comments throughout the night. Okay, so I'll pass these two around. So the same about the old one was fixed, the new one's slightly, or you can still fix it. But I will say in Japan, it's everyone goes for the unfixed style. It's like about 90% are unfixed.
Oh, wow.
Just saying, it's true though. I don't think I know any Japan brands that have a fixed one. They're all, so what they do over there is I learned a lot. They buy the heads. They have like walls and walls of heads, of all different colours, shapes, sizes, tungsten, not tungsten, UV, not UV, whatever it may be, right? And then they buy the heads, and then they go on the wall, and there'll be a wall like that tail I passed around before, just endless amounts of colours and shapes and sizes, and some are fixed at the bottom of the jig, where you can fit the line through the jig and tie it on, and some have the cord that goes up through the jig, and then you put the ring onto it from the top. That's up to you. So it's all like a personal thing. That's how they do it in Japan. But over here, we don't like to do things like that. And even with jigs that, like any of the good brand Japanese ones like this type of thing here, they don't come with any hooks or anything. But in Japan, that's the way it is because people like to custom do their own thing. So over here, it's very hard for us to sell jigs without hooks on. But we have to probably adapt and realise that it's a better way to do it the other way, which is their way, because those guys are way ahead of us. Thanks, Peter. In its style. This is just an example we're talking about. Now, a lot of people look at Mechanis jigs. The first thing they say to us is the hooks are too small. Well, they're not. It's the way they're made to be to hook the fish. So when you fish up a snapper, I'd say 99% of the fish are hooked in the lips, never down the throat. Rarely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just the way that they're designed to look like a squid or like that bottom thing, whatever it is down there. And when they eat it, it's like a inside or an inshore fish eating a prawn. They eat the feelers first and pull it under. They grab the little legs and stuff and pick at it first. With those little small hooks, they're razor sharp and they just get stuck straight away.
Hidden straight away.
Yeah.
You can actually feel the bite before in seconds. It's like bite on. That's how it works. Has anyone used them before? You guys have used them before. You said, yeah, you'll know what I mean. So, so I'll just pass around some little ones which you'd use probably in on the closer reefs. So around that sort of 40 metres deep, or in Moreton Bay, or up to say 50 metres deep. So, thanks, Bill. And if anyone's got that UV torch down there, yeah. If you don't mind passing it back around, if you want to keep that going back and forward, just keep looking at the stuff that's coming through. You'll see what I mean by UV or not UV. Okay, you guys see it.
It's
The importance of being vertical all the time, Doug, is that
Sorry.
the importance of having the jigs vertical?
Yeah, so really good. So that's what I was saying before. If you got too light a jig head, Peter, it doesn't work as good.
Yeah.
So soft plastic is a different story.
Yeah.
But these things, heavier is better than light. Yeah. Yeah.
This way, like this ball jig type thing, isn't real finesse. It's just bombing down there, and
It's
a
just
lot of the time, like a lot of guys that are really good at it, it's the way they do it overseas. No action, just very slow line.
Yeah.
And you watch the rod bounce, and like the Kiwis over in New Zealand, they do the same thing. And you watch the rod tip bounce, and it's a bite, and you keep going, and it's like the faster you go, the more they chase it, and they eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any New Zealanders here? Don't be scared. Anyhow, look, they are ahead of us. That's all I want to say, guys, they're ahead of us. So when it comes to that sort of fishing, it always starts in Japan, and then New Zealand clicked on it really quick, like probably 5 years ahead of us. And then we hear about this like canvas jigging and all this slow ball jigging, the snapper. And then it finally come here. I think Shimano and Dyer probably come out at the same time with the first to do it. And they actually use New Zealand's help to do it because that's more our area rather than Japan's area. So we do that. Anyhow, but it is the go by far. There's other things you do now. They're now making these sort of rigs that you thread up through the hole, but you can actually put like little soft plastics on it and use the plastic rather than the skirts type system, and it sits underneath the ball. Now, For those of you, I'll pass this on. I'll pass this on to you.
Is it like that, is it like the is it Vertex, like that company that bring it out like the meat?
Yeah, so so the meat with the gang hook,
Yeah,
but that's cheating because you're using bait.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That you-
But the system's similar. So go back before that, many years ago, out here we used to use, because glow seeker's been around 20 years now. John McCubbin was probably the first guy to do it years ago, Ross's dad. And we used to put that on top of the gang hook and use it that way and do the similar thing, jerk it around a bit and get smacked. And that was like the start of it, I guess, I don't know. And then now they've got like berserk and that sort of stuff.
That's what I'm-
Yeah.
I think of that.
Yeah, that's right. Meat. What do they call it? Meats. Bottom meats, that's it. Bottom meats. Yeah.
It'd be a silly question, but
Yes.
it's like 90 grams.
Mm.
What size rod, 50 gram and stuff do you need? Like,
Okay, so most of the canvas rods I showed you today, like example, the lightest one here is P1 to 3, I think, or something. You take up to 180, 180 is it?
160.
160.
Yeah.
160 grams. So triple that or double that, say.
Even though it
And,
says
and it'll be bent, it will be bent right over, but that's how they work. So it's sort of like you've got to get the rhythm.
I'd run
Not that
250
soft,
on
feel
that.
the rhythm.
Yeah, even though it says 160 like jig weight, you're not casting, so you can actually fish a bit heavier. Yeah, as long as the rod just doesn't
Very
fold
different.
away and you got nothing.
Very different to the soft plastics we're talking about at the moment.
Yeah.
It's more of a just a drop down and get the action happening, which we'll talk about then. Yeah. So, any questions on that? So I've told you how to stop it through the school fish and all that, and about the jigs. So now we'll talk about how to do it. Actually, I'll do that next. I'll do that first. Yeah. So Stewie and I, as Stewie said before, we're a lot of the time just slow winding. Okay. And a little bit of a twitch of the rod. Everyone's got different actions. If Stewie's hooked up, I'm watching what he's doing. When I'm hooked up, he still doesn't look at me.
It doesn't happen very often.
That's because we don't fish together. We used to. Anyhow, so you go first, Stu.
So on this stuff, I actually prefer to use spin. So either one.
That's right.
I always think that you're making it look like a little squid. Looks like a little squid. Try to think of what a little squid does down there. I kind of go a long, slow lift, and I throw the rod tip back down reasonably quick on slack line. I'm winding, and then I go like hop, hop. Then again, I'll go up, slow, throw it down, wind, hop, hop. So as the jig goes up, it'll kind of draw up from the bottom, sink a little bit, and then it'll flee. And generally after that little short whip, as you go again on the slow lift, that's when they eat it. Yeah. Every now and then they do eat it on the sink. Oh, Dougie, you do stop on the way down. I don't, I just pop them down there. If they eat it on the sink, they eat it on the sink. Sometimes this line stops and you think, I'm not really on the bottom, and you wind up and you've got fish. But I don't spend too much time fishing down, only because it's very hard to tell where you are. Even though you've got multicolored braid and things like that, you've got a belly in your line. It's a good indication, but you don't know 100%. Whereas once you hit the bottom, you know that the bottom's the bottom, and one colour up from the bottom is 10 metres, because you're tight at that point. So I always find more accurate going up than down.
That's one of the reasons why I use heavy jigs, because I'm more in contact with the lure. It's not like out there like that. It's pretty well straight down. Any other questions on Stewie's technique? My technique?
That's for these jigs here.
Yeah, this first, then we'll go to slow pitch jigs, and it's similar than that was. So for my action, if I'm using an overhead like this, what I do is I hold it like so, and then I put the rod hole, and that's it. It doesn't stay. No, I don't. Well, I do actually. It does work. It works very good. So we need to do that. If you drop it down the bottom, hit the bottom, and if you do have the luck to have 2 or 3 rods, particularly with this type of jig, only nothing else in here but that little canvas type jigs. What you do is you hit the bottom, just wind it up 1, maybe 2 turns. It's got to be off the bottom, not because it's going to get caught on the bottom, it will, but it's more to give it the action of flick it up and it's free falling. Okay? You don't want to hit the bottom and do nothing and then get off the bottom. it's better if it's worked above the bottom. Does that make sense? And they just catch themselves in problems, load up and big fish too. But other than that, it just hold your bait overhead like so. So that's between my fingers there, my little finger, my next finger. My thumb's on the top, and I'm holding side here. And you can do so much with that control doing it that way. Okay. Does that make sense? And keep it under your hand. I like to pivot it under my arm like that. And like so. Like so. And what I'll do, and she'll see me do it, but when I've done it like 2 or 3 lifts, I'll then actually twist quite a bit, and then just free fall again. A lot of time you get a fish at that point there. Or you go to free fall and they just jump on. Okay. You just got to work it out on the day. Simple as that. Like any fishing. Yeah. Any questions on that? We're going to go down because we're going to be running out of time soon. We're going to go to this one here next. So this is actually more intricate because there's all different types of flutter type jigs and different weights and different shapes. So we're going to go now to this stuff. So slow pitch jigs. Again, we like doing slow pitch jigging as well. And the difference between slow pitch and normal jigs is that in these little ones, that's the normal jig shape. It's long and skinny. It's quite smaller one, but just to give you an example. And their action is erratic. It darts away quite quick, right? The slow pitch jig is more like that sort of shape. So in that sort of shape there, when you twitch it up and you drop it, it flutters back down quite slowly. And that's when they nail it. It's like a fish that's injured and it's fallen back down. I guess that's emulating, but not sure. But there is an array of different shapes in that sort of rounder spectrum of the lure that have all different actions. And again, it's on the day, what they're feeding on, what they like. But generally speaking, as long as it's fluttering, it's working. Yeah. But in saying that, when we're fast jigging for kingies, say, on the longer jigs, and I'm talking big ones too, we many times catch a snapper, and a good snapper too. So, does it have to be a flutter jig? No, I don't think so. But I think it works better, and it works definitely better on the side of the gear. That makes sense? So it's up to you which way you want to go. So then we used to only use hooks on the top, particularly on the longer jigs. But when you're jerking quite fast on the long jigs, you work really hard, like if you're having on a fifth or something. What happens is if you have a hook on the bottom, the lure's continuously doing this, and that hook gets hooked on your line, and then you've got to wind it up sideways all the way to the top, and you just wasted 5 minutes of fishing, hooking the hook off so you can drop back down again. But if you're using slow pitch type jigging, you're not doing that erratic type lifting. And you can then run a hook on the bottom, double your chances, sometimes catch 2 fish at once, and the hooks don't rarely get caught up on the line. Makes sense? You still will get caught on the line, even a candlestick sometimes get caught on the line, but a lot less chance. So don't just run hooks at the top, run on top and bottom. There's all different brands here. Some have got single hooks, some have got double hooks. I just want to show you the different ways of techniques of rigging up. But as long as you've got hooks at the top, and my suggestion is to run probably double hooks rather than single hooks. 2 hooks, better chance than 1. So when I'm fishing in the closer waters, and Stuart will probably say the same. Say in it's a similar scenario, like 1 gram per meter. Sort of.
Generally, yeah. So ideal conditions is 1 gram per meter. That's like in a lab type of thing. Obviously, we've got swell, we've got current, we've got wind. So if you want to play it safe, it's just 2 grams per meter. So if we're jigging at 100 meters, we're using about a 200 gram jig or a 150 or something like that. In 30 meters, we start about 30 grams, but don't be afraid to chuck on a 60.
Yeah, go bigger.
Yeah.
Got that theory for other than snapper too?
Yeah.
Not just your normal go-to theory?
Yeah, for all of this slow pitch type style, yeah. Yeah. If you're mechanically jigging for kingies and stuff like that, just start about 200, even in 70 meters of water. Yeah. Just because it's actually easier to jig a heavy weight fast when you're fighting against it. You want them to pull back a bit. If it's too light when you go that way and then go down again,
You want to feel
the
it.
jig's still going up, so you kind of
Complete opposite of what
catch
we're
up.
doing here. We want it to actually
plus up.
do its own thing, flooding it out. So you can't actually keep contact with it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so
I think
sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
the biggest thing is, as Dougie's probably going to say, most of them do just come with the top hooks.
Yeah.
If you are going to put on
Two
bottom
hooks.
hooks, we've got them downstairs. I always make sure I put a shorter set on the bottom, just so they don't touch in the middle. So while you're down there, as Dougie said before, it's a long way down there. You don't want to foul it up or anything like that. You will feel different resistance, so you will know that something's not right down there. You wind it up, and the hooks will be jammed in the middle or around your main line and all that stuff. So just by having those two different length hooks, it's pretty a lot more fishing time.
So
So if they're on top, your hooks are on top, so I mean, I've got a few of the slugfish jigs at home, but if it's fluttering down, how are they?
they normally attack at the head end, but I don't think they know the difference between the head and the tail of
That's,
these things.
yeah,
Right?
that's what I'm
So it's just a they're going to attack the end, whichever end it is. So if you got the hooks on both ends, then you got a good chance, right?
yeah.
But if you only got them at the top and they're doubles, like they're only small, so they're going to get hooked
They're
anyway.
gonna take the whole.
You rarely miss. You get a lot better hookup rate on the Cannis jigs, that's for sure, because they're very sharp. This is sharp too. The other thing too is like people say, oh, the hooks are too light, but they're not if you're only using 30-pound line. If you're using 50-pound line, yeah, they're too light.
Yeah.
So you need to up the ante. But when you're using, it's all relevant again to the size of the gear you're using. So you can't put enough hurt on 30-pound line to bend those hooks. It'll break your line first. Yeah. And if you were going to give it a crack for, I think I really set one around. I did. Anyhow, I was just going to show you the difference between tungsten and not tungsten, but I think the tungsten one's really gone around on its own. But you can, if it's down the back there, I think.
It's in my bag.
Is it?
Yeah. I look over.
Jenny, your bag's going to be heavy going out.
Yeah.
So the 40 gram versus I think it's a 30 gram for this one's tungsten, one's not. But one have been 60 and 30 is the same size lure. But the price was not right there. Some of them have blades on the back too. Okay, and blades are becoming another popular thing in Japan. They're on nearly everything. They buy blades, they hook them onto like a little open end on it, and they just hook it onto the lure at the back. And blades on the fall flick a little light off and fish hit it. But it's really good for say, and a big bycatch of this type of fishing is bonito. We don't like to eat bonito so much, but in other countries they do. And I don't mind eating them, but the bonito's the best of all the sort of inshore tuna, if that makes sense. Actually, no, the bluefin's better. Yeah, but they're white meat. And that's just the Japanese one. Yeah, so does that all make sense? Yeah, cool.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, there's one more. This is another thing again, which we haven't had time to test history, but again, the guys showed us in Japan. So it's like a hybrid. So you can actually cast this one out. So I'll just put one of the plastics on there.
It's got a number on it.
Right. It's got it has. It's got a
Spoon.
no.
One more thing.
What do they call those things again?
Not a model slide.
Yeah, it's a mum
Yeah.
plate, but it's got another name. Anyhow, and what it does, it shimmies like bing, 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 oil through the water everywhere, the water column. But if you cast this out and let it try and free fall, like I said earlier, it lands on the bottom where you cast it to, you can actually slow wind it, just slow wind, and hop it a little bit as well, and does the sort of the Canis jig skirt tail thing down. But it swims actually as well. It's a bit of a hybrid. Also weedless, so it doesn't get caught on the bottom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Could
So
you,
they're sort of like flashes that you attach to your rig. Is that what it
You
is?
can buy the flashes as well. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Not a blade. It's actually. Oh, it's a blade, but the clip goes through the front of it, so that's good. Yeah, really good. Something different. Again, they're way ahead of us.
Is that only good for a certain depth then?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It's 28 grams, so on 30-pound line, I'd use that up to 50 meters, no problems at all. Maybe even deeper if the well is good.
Okay,
Yeah,
with some depth.
yeah, and I guess you could probably use it as like a Lacanis jig and even put it in the rod holder and probably still do its thing as well. Yeah, and probably be not too bad because it's going to flick off light as well. The only thing is a mackerel might bite it off. Good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I've done the down riggers already, right? Yep. So, any questions on that at all? Okay. And as Stewie said before, you can add hooks and whatever else. So you can get little. I want these around to show the difference between long and short. The hook size is similar. One's a bit stronger, but you can get all different types of hooks. So this is what I'm saying. In Japan, they buy all their own hooks in their heads, and they mix and match and do whatever. And they have little boxes that they sit in, and they've got their own little house on. They go for long.
How can we revert back, like you keep mentioning Japan, like have they got the technology that and the resources and they experiment a lot more? Or it's just because
I think it's more than fishing. So, but the ideas come out quicker, maybe.
yeah,
Very good fishing.
Really?
Yeah, and look, I'm saying they're maybe 10 years ahead of us.
Yeah.
New Zealand's probably in some areas maybe 5, but they're probably like 10, and we're probably about 10 years ahead of America.
And you're catching a similar style, like similar fish species or what?
Yeah, snapper, all that sort of stuff. Same, yeah, same depths, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, before I get, actually, I was just going to show you one last thing. You know, you can buy like squid type things, right? As long as they have the hole going through the center, you can. I've done this before too, and they work very well. My son Jack loves doing this. But what you do is you buy a packet of aluminum sinkers, right? And you aluminum sinker on the line first, and then thread the leader through this, and then you attach the assist hooks under it, and use it as a squid on the bottom, sort of thing. They also do work quite well as well. Okay, and as a squid top thing. Okay, Stewie, soft plastics advisement. Which one feels good? Any other questions on that so far on the jigs? Everyone's good? Okay. Yep.
Plastic.
Oh, sorry, Dougie, on the fluff slope pitch, which island are we putting our main line on again? Is
The
it?
ones where the hooks are on the top.
Yeah, but it looks top and bottom.
No,
Yeah,
like,
they said
on
too.
the main one on the hook or on the split ring?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if it's got it, I don't like to tie it direct to the lure. I like to tie it to the solid ring off the split ring.
Yeah, you should put a solid ring on them as well, like an extra. So if you put a solid ring as well on a jig, you've got, say you tie to the solid ring, and off this solid ring you've got all your accessories. So you'll have a split ring that'll hold your jig on, free, so more action. And then you've also got a split ring holding your hooks on. So you're fighting the fish direct through rings, not through the jig.
It's also
a lot
stronger.
stronger.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, more action, more free.
And if
Yeah.
you want to change your jig,
Yeah, so
You just split ring them
again,
off. Yeah.
Japanese style, they leave the rig on the rod all the time, and they just change their lure to suit.
Yeah.
Hence why they don't have hooks and stuff on. Cheaper for you guys. Normally. Yeah. Okay, soft plastics. It's totally different rods now. Now we're using the this type of rod, right? Longer rod, heavier, stiffer, whatever. Sabotage. Sorry. So we're using a longer rod, stiffer rod. Again, great fun out there doing this type of thing, and snapper just slamming. So this one's getting a lot more hits on the way down, on the free falling. It's a bit like, does anyone float like a snapper with baits and small sinkers and that run out and they hit on the fall and just takes off 100 miles an hour? Same scenario. Okay, so a lot of your hits are on the free fall. Again, plastics has a lot of different shapes, sizes, types, colours, styles. Yeah, what's your favourite, Stu?
I think generally the biggest seller, but I think the one that works the most is just a general minnow style. So something long, split tail at the back, whether it be a gulp or something like that type of fish tail minnow, they're quite popular. Very lifelike looking thing. We'll pass it around, but
That's one of Stu's my favourites. I know
They're good.
Tim's a mate of ours, but they bloody work well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So Marcus that works here as well. You don't want no Marcus. He nails so many 90s on these things. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the beauty about a plastic like this is there's no drag. So you don't have a big curl tail or you don't have a paddle tail slowing it down. So you can get away with fishing a lighter jig head in deeper water, which is going to give you a better fall rate. So you want to maximise your time that it's in the strike zone, that bottom half type of thing. So
the other thing too, the split tail too, is you can work it in two different ways. You can work it as a dead fish, like dying fish, so very slow twitching, and it sort of rolls and flutters and whatever else. It doesn't actually swim down or whatever, it just sort of mimics a fish that's dying. Or you can do erratic sort of jerks with it and dart it as well, so it becomes super alive, so you can do both. Okay. Where a lot of plastics are paddle tails, you go hop it up and then drop it back down and swim back down again. You can't really do the all over type action probably.
So what sort size are you using?
Those ones there.
Yeah, that's
Generally-
size 5-inch. Please.
Size 5.
5, yeah, so 5-inch in those is the gun. There is a 4-inch and a 3, but 4-inch is not too bad, but 5-inch is the gun.
Generally with your plastics as well, hook size wise, if it's a 5-inch, it's about a 5.
Yep, correct. So that's
6 inch,
that's
6
about the right runner.
Yeah.
So 1 ounce 5.0 is really good, or if you're fishing in close, half ounce, you're fishing at 36s, about an ounce.
That's what,
Yeah.
that's about 50 metres. The 36s are about
65.
55.
Yeah. So 45 meters, 40 meters is 24 fathom, right?
If there's no current and there's no wind and you're kind of just drifting around slowly, you can get away with those, like with a minnow shape, like that fork tail shape. You can fish a 1/4 ounce in like 30 meters pretty comfortably. You're throwing up current, you're letting it walk down with you, and you've got a long light leader, like you have very, very minimal drag. So you can get that kind of real good action on the sink and kind of just swims down type of thing. And as Dougie said before, they eat it on the drop. So. Or you can fish that heavier head and kind of bomb to the bottom and have contact and put your action into it. They work both ways. There's no right or wrong. It's just whatever you're comfortable doing.
Jenny, do another bag, or you got you silver?
I'm gonna take the basket with me.
So you can get natural type colours now. A lot of lures are coming out like those ones. The Estacle ones are very lifelike colours. And now Berkeley's got a range as well, like sort of yellowtail, yakka sort of colours and whatever else, and smackerel ones. And then there's bright colours as well. So colour is a thing on the day. And it's really hard what colour to drop down. There's so much choice what I do. Just maybe you do one colour, your mate does another colour. Try and work out what's the best colour. But then other guys say if we're all fishing the same one, it's like a school of bait down there, right? But you don't see many schools of just 1 or 2 fish. So yeah, if you got like 10 guys off the boat, I'll maybe do it.
How long do you give it before you do change the colour? 'Cause I find myself
Yeah.
like, oh, there'll be another one.
Yeah.
And next
Yeah, I
time,
know.
it's the same one.
You're always hoping. Yeah, look, I'd probably only give it maybe 3 drops, and I'll probably move spots before I move lures, but I don't know, but it's true.
Yeah, about the same. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's quick and rapid.
it's not happening. It's not going to happen on anything. And when it is happening, it'll get smashed on the way down. Yeah, and it's more about the fish biting in that area than the lure, I think, and then the lure comes second.
So we could use really any of these, as long as it's on the fish.
Pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, and your action's got to be right. Yeah. So then there's like prawns. Prawns are very popular too. So as I said before, Matty, the guy, he uses these Crush City prawns in this colour, but he uses all the colours, but this colour is very popular. It's a very popular colour up on the reef as well. And that one we're using in similar size. You get maybe a little bit bigger, 6.0 maybe.
They still use half ounce. But
half ounce. Yeah. That's
In the deeper water, you
If
can
you
fish
should
it.
deep water, you go something like that.
So the biggest thing is with this prawn that's going around, you'll notice in comparison to that minnow type shape, you've got heaps of legs, you've got a tail that kind of flicks around a bit, and there's more drag. So you need to fish that a little bit heavier to kind of get it to sink at the same speed as the minnow style. So
Thank you. Thanks.
Free run.
yeah.
This is another new one, Valley Hill, which is a very popular brand again in Japan. But this one has a scent in it, and the actual I just know it's going to smack it because it's like a very loose tail. Does that make sense? It's like a split tail type thing, got more action, and less resistance. What I'm looking for. A lot of them have big jumper tails on them. Okay, they're now doing soft plastics with rattles in them. Okay, so this is one from again Estacle. That's a rattle. Okay. Now in your bags, those ones going around those red packets that we said before, that's stereotype, I like using end markers. He's actually giving you guys a bag in your bag to test, okay, to try, and you'll love it. They're good. They're really good ladies.
So obviously with the plastics, the gulps you wouldn't put asphalt on.
No.
It would, all the others would,
Yeah, it's I was a couple got around already. That's right. Yeah, no thing. Yeah, same with you, no thing. Yeah, very sticky.
I'll put it aside.
Oh, dude, even that's
That's stink.
I know that's big.
You really wash it. It's like it stink and I'll put a nice smell.
What is it?
Nice.
It's like that stinks, but
I know.
it's not like dirty shirts.
I'm just going to take that back up and leave it into that spell. But it works really good. It works really well. They're great products. Guys, just another thing I want to tell you about before we tell you about how to do it all on the GPS sort of thing. But when you do buy your golf, how many people use golf? I know I do. You figure you would have done it, I do think. When you do it, buy it in that form if you can get the same pattern in that sort of thing. Because you get the juice. There's about 2.5 to nearly 3 packets in one, which equates to much cheaper than it's like 2-packet price for 3 packets of stuff plus all the juice. If you buy the juice on its own, that amount of juice, it's about $15. So you
How long
really
does the juice last?
it lasts about 2 years, but it does go a brownie, like a lot more brown than that, like
Yeah.
brownie brown colour.
You keep it in the sunlight
Yeah.
in the boat and in the heat, it goes black quick.
Like
you use your plastic, you put it back in there
Yeah.
afterwards,
yes,
just to keep it
yeah,
fresh.
yep, correct.
Yeah.
So they come back to life again, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's its house.
That's what they used to be like, you used to leave them on your home and
That's right.
dry up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's golf. They're biodegradable, so they're actually not made of rubber. Looks like they're rubber, but they're actually made of food starch.
Of what, sorry?
Food starch. Yeah, and they dissolve, so they'll actually just dissipate to goo if you leave it in water. But the fish love it. They can't not eat it. There's actually a new one coming out. I saw it recently down in Sydney. It's I can't tell the brand name again, it's a secret, but anyhow, it'll be released at Tackle Show. But it is 45 times more bite, hang on type resistance than it is. They cannot let go of it. They want to eat it. It keeps swallowing and swallowing. Yeah.
Addictive?
Sorry.
Addictive?
Probably the word to use, yes. Yeah. Stewie, before we get to the vibes, last one. So you've got a pack of these in your bag as well. I think the little one, the big one. We've got the big and little. Anyhow, these are really good too. So these are probably the smallest plastic I've used on the reef, but they're very, very good. And that colour's very good. It's just like a yakka or a slimy colour.
What size brick do you use for that?
About a 4.0 and about anywhere from 1/4 to about 3/8, maybe half. Fishing up to 50 metres deep. Yeah. Has anyone ever used their like floating type rods or snapper yet on soft plastics? No, none of these are adventurous. So
We're trying to catch fish, not lose them.
there's skill involved. Stu tells me.
I only use pretty light stuff. Like I
Yeah,
only
he is very light. That's what I'm getting at.
like I use probably 4 to 5 meters a litre, but it's only like heaviest I use is 16 pounds. Yeah,
A snapper.
yeah. You get a better sink.
We fish
It
different.
just one person catches and one person thinks that they catch it. But now look, lighter leader allows you to fish lighter and get that better sink. It's all about the sink rate.
As I said earlier, it's all about sync rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and there's a bigger version of that one too. Okay, vibes, Stu. Any questions on soft plastics, guys?
Rigging them?
Rigging them, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's all about. Actually, can I just grab?
There's one that's,
Yeah, this. I just want to grab a packet of plastics out of the big headload, if that's all right.
Yep. I'll be.
Thank you. You'll be rewarded later.
Thank you.
Thank you. So it's all about lining the hook up and just keeping central of the lure. Now, some people like, for some reason, like to have the jig head on that angle.
That's always
The hook sticking out, like the whole gate sticking out. That's not our style.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Manny.
I like the hook hangers.
The bottom of the gate. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, Stu do his style first. I'll do my style second.
No, you do this.
Okay.
Yours is the right way.
Suppose. It works for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's true. So when you've got your plastic, just hold the hook like that right up to the head, and that's roughly where it's going to come out. Look at your plastic and think, okay, it's just behind that little side fin, if you can see it down the back here, little fin on the side. It's going to come out about level with the bottom of that. So then just put it through the center. Now the ones with eyes on them, 90% of the time the eyes pop out when you push the hook through. Mine's not going to do that.
Drags.
And then try and pop it out dead set center. Push it around that point there, and then push it up. This is when the eyes sometimes pop out. And push it up, and push it up, and that's it. It's a little bit skew with, but not too bad. Even though that looks a bit skew with, it'll still work. I could have come out maybe about 2 mil earlier, but yeah, that's fine.
This one's going to look like a really dead one.
Stu, your turn, mate.
Good.
Thank you.
But keep
They're actually
keep
pretty
it
hard to do
straight.
because they're so skinny. But kind of excuse first.
Well, you've got the same one, so. Glasses on.
It's a contraption that's going around online at the moment.
Yeah, let's set it in there and do it on.
Yeah, and they
Mate, I know it looks good, but trust me, learn to do it yourself. Yeah. Spike yourself a hand a few times, you're right.
So Stu, are you measuring it or what's going on here?
Oh, I always cut the nose off so it sits like a bit nicer on the jig head. And then I'll still measure it, but I'll come out with a lot more hook out. So no pressure.
Did you bite?
It's only
I know
food
with a
stuff.
toxic cigar.
I got a fish nearly that. It's a little bit.
Looks a bit dead, but it's all right.
I had to say that. I like the look of hook. It's straight this way, so it's not going to
Yeah, so you got lots of hook, you got lots of hook out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like the setup.
They sniff at their hook. Done.
Is that how you catch more?
Small ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably for a lot.
So anyhow, so line the hook up from the measure from the head back, and that's where it's going to come out roughly. But try and visually see something on that lure that is so you know where to pop it out. Does that make sense? And when you pop it out, make sure it's dead set center. It can't be on the side. So pull it around a little bit. It's got to be straight. Really important.
We see it all the time, and like when people come in and they say, "Oh yeah, I've been fishing, and those lures that you sold me, they're no good. They caught nothing, blah blah blah," and they'll come in with a lure. That's actually not too bad.
You don't do a bad one. Yeah, no. Yeah, like it's
You normally do this, sorry. Yeah.
It's going to do this in the water, you know, propeller style.
They have it like that type of thing, you know, and it's all bunched up there, and you've got a big belly in it, and as Dougie says, it's just going to spin heaps in the water. It doesn't look natural. Yeah.
It's going to swim around, do the same thing. Yep. So,
What about those soft plastics that got like the slit in them? In your
yeah, that one has a slit in it. So,
Do you still feed it the whole way through? I've seen people feed it to the slit, then push it through, then you push it back up through.
so you do that. See that pink one that went around? Is that scenario? So you go through the nose, pop it out, and then
Yeah.
and then you measure it out, and then stick it back through, and that's nice and straight, you know. So, but other than that, that's the only time you use it. It's called weaver hook.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay, any questions on that at all?
I was going to.
Okay, last thing is vibes. So, in vibes, look, I don't do much vibing. The students that trip up the reef did a lot of vibing, got a lot of trout. But it's the same technique for snapping.
Yeah, up north it's definitely more popular. It's quite a big thing down south, believe it or not, like in that shallow water stuff off of coughs and things like that, where they fish 20-metre stuff. So they're blessed with good shallow water snapper fishery down there, whereas us, we've got to go that little bit further. The biggest thing is with vibing in any way, shape or form, whether it be a flatty, a brim or a snapper or a reef fish, you need to follow the vibe down. As it sinks, they've only got one tow point mostly. As it sinks, if you've got a lot of loose line, this tail hook can go up and catch your main line. And if you touch the line on the way down, out of like the resistance coming off the spool, it can make things foul up. So generally, long cast up current, and I'll feather the line through my fingers as it sinks, but I will always have a bit of contact with the lure. I'll sink under a tight line. The other thing is when you are sinking under a tight line and you get a bite, you feel it straight away. So it tells you a lot more about, as we were saying before, about where you are type of thing. You might be using multicolored line, but the problem is you're casting this lighter lure, whether it be a plastic or a vibe, up. So it doesn't really matter how many colors you got because it's sinking up there. It's not sinking there. So you've got that belly of line anyway. So
Techniques too.
I'll obviously throw it out. I'll let it sink. Let it hit the bottom. I run my braids through my fingers, and then once I get to the bottom, I don't flick it too much because then they will foul. Just try it next time you're vibing, whether it be casting or vertical. If you flick the line a lot and try to put action into it, 9 times out of 10 they'll foul in it. So just to wind up so you're tight, I just slowly lift. I might try to get a double hop in there, but it's a double hop on tight line. So you'll go like rip, kind of still have tension, and then rip again. There'll just be a momentary pause in there. But yeah, that's about it. And you just kind of work it until it's straight up and down. Once it's straight up and down, you can
pretty quick.
teabag it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to follow it down.
Yeah, they actually vibe all the way down, back down again. So that's really nailed.
So with the, I'm going to ask you, I've just bought some, the Nomad, the Vertex.
Yep.
And also the Squid Trex.
Yep.
I bought probably 600 of each. Similar,
Same action.
same action.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're going to feel the same through the rod.
We're past the squid tracks around
Yeah.
now. So
Only one there.
yeah. So it's exactly the same style, but squid tracks you can do a bit more deegle dangling because of the legs that are on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit more.
I've been watching their YouTube, Nomad's YouTube channel about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've sort of said with snapper fishing, if you send a jig down, flow pitch jig down
Yeah.
first,
Yep.
and then catch a snapper, and then drop your squid tracks or your vertex down after, because it's the snapper's seeing two different
Right.
types of bait. I'm
Okay.
guessing of what
Yeah.
we're talking about,
Yep.
so it doesn't spook them or.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good call. I never
I
we've
don't
never
know
tried it.
much about it, but
Yeah.
that's sort of what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I generally find if you're on a bite and you're catching fish, you don't change anything.
Mm.
Change it when you have to.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Like if you've caught a fish on that,
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. So, any questions on that at all? I'm going to tell you how to do it. Where to go. We told you how to do it, but where to go? And in a polite way. So, okay, first thing. Thank you, Stu. First thing, has anyone not got an avionics app on their phone? I know it's $80 a year or $90 a year, but it's the best money you'll ever spend. So if you haven't got it, please, I don't recommend getting it. It's up to you guys. But it becomes your fisherman's Bible as well. I call it. Everything's on there. Steal marks off your mates, whatever. Download the whole day's fishing and get all his marks. That phone's allowed now, but so. So the whole scenario, we say this every time, it's understanding the grounds you're fishing. So you need to know, okay, the snapper on, and always keep in touch with us or watch our reports or whatever. If you know the snapper happening out on the 36 fathoms, well, that's where you're going to go if you can get out there. If they're going to be happening on the 18 fathoms, you're going to be going there, right? It's pointless knowing they're there, but go to another spot and try it because it's maybe not going to be happening. So if they're on, so 37 it's happening, that you just make it happen. Keep going. Don't stop. So if you know they're on the 18 fathoms, it's about 32 meters or 35 meters deep. And on that sheet you have, we'll use an example. Then what's so secret, Mark? That's right. Some of these may be 100 or 200 meters off, but they're very close. If you look at under 50 meters, so let's look at the seaway is on parallel 2756. You need to get your head around this as well, guys, because if you're drowning and you had 1 minute to get a mayday call out and you can understand where this is, you can tell the guys, I'm actually off jumping pin on this parallel and I'm not going to go looking for you. You know what I mean? That gives you some idea where you are. Brilliant. So anyway, here can tell up around anytime, anywhere. Just Could get her in bed. Now, 27.56. So we're down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 marks there. And that's about the 18 fathoms. So 27.56, 799. And let's just say there's 2 marks there. So the ones, so this is north, south, east, west. So 27.56, 799. That's my latitude here, right? And I've got a mark here. That is 799. It's right here. So I've marked that little pinnacle. Then the next one down, 27.56, 924, is exactly 0.13 of a mile south because the numbers got bigger. So as I go further south, the number gets bigger. So it's gone from 799 to 924. So that next pinnacle's pretty well nearly in line, but just south. Does that make sense?
Mm.
And it's a little bit more inside actually, because the number's smaller. So it's probably about here something. So you're only talking 0.13 of a mile, so it's around about 180 metres or something like that, 150 metres. So it's not far away. 2 pinnacles in a line. We're going to go down a bit further. 27.56, 723. Actually, we're going to go further. We're going to go up because it's a smaller number, but it's 153, 28, 688. So it's over half a mile less. It's about 800 metres to the east. So I'm out around here somewhere now. So when I put those 3 marks in my sounder, that's all those. The guys are saying that they're on the 18 fathom reef, right? And so I've got these marks at 18 fathoms. Okay, I'm going to try there. So I'll head out, and what I'll do is I will see what the wind's doing, what the current's doing. So if I'm drifting, I'll pull up over here. I won't go to those spots yet. I'll pull up over here, and if I'm drifting this direction here, like that, in that direction, and I'm drifting relatively slow, what I'll do then is I'll go maybe for one quick run up through that one there at that same parallel angle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm not going to go too far past because it's taken me a while to drift just that 50 metres, 80 metres, whatever. And I'll go down to around here, northwest, and I'll cast my lines, because the wind's blowing from the northwest side. I'll cast my lines now. I'll cast this my boat there, and I'm going to be facing back to the wind front there. I'm going to cast my lines, if I'm using plastics, up this way, towards the reef. And my line's going to land somewhere in that vicinity by the time the boat catches up to it at around here somewhere. Does that make sense? Yeah. Sorry if you can't see it. You can see it, right? Yep. So my boat's there, my line's there, and I'm hopefully by the time that happens, I'm in the zone, so I can start working my plastic or whatever I'm using at the time. And if I don't get a bite there, and I know that spot's coming up pretty soon, but my line's going to start getting up a bit behind the boat, I'll do 2 things. I'll just keep working it. But when I get the boat down to around here's the first case scenario. Around here, I'll just slowly back up. Okay, and as I'm backing up, my line that's out there is going to slowly come back up. It's just working. It'll come back down lower, and by that time, my line is in this vicinity here, and next minute my boat's up here, and my line's right in the zone in that area there. It is a better technique though, because that doesn't always work because your line's hard to stay in contact with the bottom. If you're using plastics, we're talking. So what I'll do is take out that scenario there. At this point here, I haven't got a fish, but I know that spot's coming up here. So I will then cast up to here. And by the time the boat gets down to here, I'm on the zone again. So I wind up, cast it, I know it's only 50 metres still to go, and drop it down again. See some water, bar arm open, just let it fall down quite quick, and you'll be in the zone. Or next time I do the drift, I won't go that far up because I realise it's not as slow as I thought. So I'll just stop here and cast up to that spot, the next drift. Does that make sense? And then after I've done that, I'll then go back around and I'll go to here because I know I'm going to drift down this parallel again, down through here over the top of that next spot, and I'll do the same again. And then I'll go around here. If I get nothing, I'll get that one there and crack. And if I don't get one by that time, someone's been bullcrapping to me. This is fish on the morning. Okay. Does that make sense? But you need to either do two things: is back up a little bit to give it that little bit, especially, I like to actually, I don't know about you, Stu, but I like to have my plastic in front of the boat that I'm heading to, not behind the boat. I don't know if you're used to.
Yeah.
Working in, elbow side the boat. In the length of the boat's the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is everyone gonna like? Do you guys all drift, or do you use an electric, or what's the general? Bit of both.
Yeah, a bit of both,
Yeah. If you do have an electric and you can, it's hard to get your head around. But I always try to do the same speed as the current, and I'll just drop the lure and just keep up with it. I'll
Good.
drive and keep up with it.
That's the best scenario.
Yeah.
Because
So
that's the car.
it's straight underneath you. You know where you are. You don't have to cast. You got no loose extra line out.
The only reason we're casting is so we can get to the bottom and actually fish that bit of an area.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would drop it down the bottom.
And
But-
you always say cast ahead
Yeah, yeah.
and bring it back to you while you're meeting it. Is
Yeah,
that that's what you're saying?
Yeah, no, you're casting ahead and the boat's drifting. This is the lure here. The boat's drifting towards the lure, but as the lure's going down, it's in the zone very close to the bottom by the time you catch up with it normally speaking.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get hit on the fall before that. Some might come up a bit higher.
Yeah.
They might come up 20 minutes off the bottom and nail you. The other scenario is the Stu saying with electric, you can also, if that's the spot, I'll maybe sit here. And if you want to cast up to here and let it run back down past that reef. And you're on spot lock, of course, so you're working up current and let that come back down again. Does that make sense? Yeah. And again, use the bar lamp free until it falls a lot quicker. About twice the speed to hit the bottom, if rather than having the bar lamp closed. Or if you're in an overhead, it doesn't quite fall as quick, does it?
Not light.
Not on light stuff. Not on light stuff, yeah. On plastics. Lucanus, okay.
When you mean like motor with the current,
Yeah.
are you not drifting with the current
Anyway,
already, or is it
But you're
underwater
never
currents?
going to drift as fast as the current.
Yeah.
Generally, it's always a bit slower.
You got you got the deep as well, like so-
Yeah. So like, because you put your lure in, your lure gets washed away a lot quicker. It's a lot lighter than you. So then you're all
more fit,
yeah. So it's got more drag.
You gotta work that speed out though with the electric. So you get it so it's sort of like your line doesn't have time to go past you, so to speak.
So-
You should work
No,
that
it
speed.
doesn't have a chance to run away.
I run away, sorry. Yeah, that's what I mean. Not run away, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
so we're trying to keep it straight down.
Correct.
Right.
That's the perfect scenario. And you can just hop it, do what you want to do. Slow twitch, high twitch. Yep.
Yes.
Does that all make sense?
And that, because you were saying that in the last session was the float line. It's
Similar
very
scenario.
similar scenario.
Very similar.
Yeah.
As-
Very similar scenario, and very similar weights as well because you're using as small as you can
Yeah,
with that one and be doing a lot more reversing with the bait.
Yeah.
Less with this one.
yeah, you explained it
Yeah.
last time, so it's.
Yeah.
So if you did do any good, would you try some bait, something like that?
Take a
Oh, really? Generally, if we go,
Yeah, we do one or the other.
Oh, that's it.
We do one or the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
But like generally, you got to catch fish. I might switch to the canvas from plastic, so. And like there are days when I'll start on bait, but I never go the other way.
Okay.
Bait first, and then maybe switch to plastics a bit later.
Old items.
Or live yeah, whatever. Yeah. But rarely go plastics and then bait. Yeah. So yeah, you can. Just reverse the role.
Why don't you go the other way? Sorry.
Because I've seen that they don't like plastics too much in the dark. So if you're out there in the crack of daylight, bait sort of is by far the paramount. Yeah. So does everyone understand how the GPS marks work? The worst thing is when you got wind against current, and it's not happening, and the boat's sitting stationary, but your line's going shook past you because of the current, and the wind's holding against it. You got to reverse the roll and cast with the wind, which is a good thing, and then bring it back back with you, whatever. Because sometimes the current in your boat can be going against the wind. But blowing 15 knots from the southeast, white capped, and you think you're going to be drifting north, but you're actually drifting south against the wind. So anyone had that scenario yet? Happens a lot.
Yeah.
And that's the days that's really hard fishing. Quite hard. Yeah. You've got to try it on the day. There's so much involved. But if they're on the bite, like Stewie says, no one can miss. They just jump on. So, sounders. Guys, you've got to learn to use Zoom. So if you're not using Zoom, you're not doing it right. So,
What the?
oh, look, even I'm using the broadwater, any depth. I just have Zoom. Zoom. So if you're, generally a good thing is running at probably 1/4, even to 1/8 if you sound it go, or use up a lot of limits yourself, whatever. But if you're in, say, 40 metres, you want to look at the bottom, probably 10 maybe, on one side, 10 or 15 maybe. So,
Well, do you know Ryan Moody?
yeah,
Yeah.
Sounder skills.
Yeah, I've just done his sounder skills.
yeah,
through.
good. How'd you go with it?
It's hours and hours and hours of
Yep,
learning,
yep, which there is.
but I haven't put it into practice yet.
Yep, good.
But to anyone, I'd say to anyone who doesn't know sounders, and I didn't know sounders, it is really good. It's not cheap. I can't remember how much I paid. It was a couple of $100 maybe. But it was really good to sit and learn.
Yeah, good.
The only sound skills one was for $20. It was reasonable.
Yes.
But this goes so into depth with your side scan, your 2D down, your
Gain and all that sort of stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
especially from 100 meters.
Yep.
And down to 20 meters.
yeah.
Just and the zoom.
Which is this
especially-
area we're all fishing.
That's why I brought it up because the zoom. He
Yeah.
talks about that so
Yeah.
much.
Mm.
That once you get over 50, 60, 70 meters, zoom is so important.
Yeah.
To learn.
Okay.
And I just need to learn how to use my
Yeah.
two sounders now.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, that's
But If
good.
anyone,
Ryan Moody, yep, that's right. No, good one.
If anyone knows him, look at it.
So the other thing too is I don't like to fish too much the pinnacles with snapper. I like to find stuff that's away from the reef. So you'll have your pinnacles, which obviously is something you have lots of mackerel and stuff on it, and cobra and whatever else. Nothing wrong with that. But for snapper, if you can find a bit of gravel or something a little bit bumpy on the bottom, but not like that sort of thing, and maybe 200 to 300 meters, or even 500 meters away from the reef, is that one little patch the size of this room. That's when you're going to really have a really fat time. Okay, and you've got to go looking. So when you're mackerel fishing, I don't know who mackerel fishes, Charles mackerel. Okay, so that's when you have time to go looking on the bottom, and that's when you should be marking those little tiny little bumps that come up, and that's why I zoom in a fair bit, because it might only come off the bottom 400 mil. That's all you need to hold the fish. You'll see the fish on it though, but it won't be a massive big pinnacle. And if you're just flat lining with no zoom, you won't see anything. You won't even see the fish. So you're looking at top to bottom, 0 to 40. So if you get the opportunity to go slow in the water, 6 knots or under, or 7 knots and under, take advantage of zooming in and marking things. So
It's a kind of an insane question, but what are we looking for on a sounder that sort of dictates that that's snapper over something else?
yeah, you can't really tell snapper from anything else except that it will be sort of individual, not semi-arches, so to speak, or dots or whatever. There may be bait schools with good fish around it as well. Mackerel tend to be, if you're going slow, more of a long line.
So they're usually solo, like they're
So, they're not solo, they're normally schooled up. There is the odd solo one, but they're normally schooled up. So there'll be like good fish, lines, and
Yeah.
slightly arched.
like all the other fish. Gotcha.
Yeah, pretty well. No, they'll be slightly arched and they'll be more spaced. Yeah, more spaced.
That's snapper.
Correct. Yeah. Where baits clustered and other bigger fish are just individual, like a shark, you just see it individually. They're normally schooled up in maybe on an average probably about 10 little things together.
And is it one of those fish that if you drop one, you scare it and then you're done?
Not really, no. Not like other fish. Not as bad, as I said. They probably do, but not as bad.
Okay.
They don't talk as much. I don't think. But there are one fish that will school up by size. So if you're going to catch an 80, there's going to be more 80s in that school. That's one thing, important thing to remember. So it just seems to be that way. If they're 60, they're all 60, or you might get the odd 80, but a lot of 60s in it.
Yeah.
If they're 40, they're all 40. It's just the snapper way.
We've got a band here, haven't we? We
They've been banned from the
15th
15th of June.
July.
Oh, July, is it? July.
July.
15.
To the August
To August 15th.
15th. August. And that's on Pearlies as well, same time.
So it's a month, July 15, August 15.
So my best catches of really big fish in close here are around that time, before the band comes in.
Before the band.
Yeah. And it's normally really good just prior or just after, if the weather allows us to get out. Yeah. And the biggest fish what we catch off the Gold Coast here are generally inside of 40 metres, bigger than out 100 metres, or even inconsistency. Yeah.
What's the biggest you've seen?
We've caught them over a metre, but
Well, I was going to ask that.
yeah.
I've seen a 16 kilo, but it didn't go a metre.
Yeah, so you get different fish. You get two different fish. You get the real fat ones and you get the slim one. The fatter ones that tend to be, they're black on the belly, like they've been, I don't know if they're in mud or what they are, but they've got black scales on their belly and they're fat. The skinny ones are like, just like a normal looking snapper, skinnier. So I don't know if they come from deeper water or I don't know where they come from. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But we got the last time I caught like really big ones, like over 95s, was probably quite a few years ago. But this past year, I don't know if you guys got into it yourselves, but it's one of the best years for big fish. Late season, I'm talking like December, January, February, so amazing. And the amount of 90s that our customers caught, we were too busy in here, but didn't get much chance. And the weather was crap, so you had to go during the week really to get a chance. Was ridiculous. How many Lloyd catch? 18 or something?
Something like that.
18 over 90 or something. And they only use plastics or vibes. Yeah, no bait. Yeah. So,
In under 40 metres.
around 40 metres maybe deepest. Yeah. So, like I said, hear when it's happening and just go and do what we're telling you and catch them. Hopefully, you will. And you get good marks there. So get back to the marks when it's full. So all those ones inside of there, you got 2700, which is right up near probably South Passage Bar somewhere, or further north maybe. All the way down to 2800, which is about off sort of Q1. For the guys at Tweed Heads, you're probably going to be more in the next patch, I think you are. So under 70 metres. Again, 2720, that's around just north of Pond Lookout, all the way down to 2814, which is about off probably south of Cabarita, I think. So a lot of Tweed Heads ones down there. So that's, you're talking 36 fathom reef on that one. As you go further south and further north, the 36 is a lot closer to the land. Just where we are, we're in a bit of bay on the horseshoe at the top end, west side of it. It's a long way out where they're close. We're 20 k's to the 36 fathom reef, going straight out. Off Tweed are about 12 k, I think. And off Point Lookout's about 5 or 6 k. Close. A bit hard though. Roughly speaking. Yeah. And then the 90 metres works exactly the same way. For us, it's 40 k's out. So how many people have got boats over 4.8? So most do, we have. So for those guys, or a jet ski, doesn't matter, as long as you got the fuel. Just remember when you're at 36 fathom reef, you're halfway to the 50 fathom. Does that make sense? So if you remember that's 20k, then 40k. So that same distance again. This time of year, be careful of westerly winds. Westerly winds out wide are ugly. Looks really nice if you're going to the seaway. It looks nice for the first 5k's, not too bad. Next 10k is going to be a bit rough. Looks not too bad, but it's okay. But when you turn to go west, where you just come from, it's quite ugly. And you're going to bash your way back in again. And when you're out 50 fathoms, that's really ugly. The other thing to watch out for is whales. the whales have been very, very late this year. They're normally here, you know, late April, early May, they start to kick in. They're just starting to show up now, so it's mid-June. So they're about a month later, I guess. So those sort of things, we all have to go chase the snapper early morning, be out there in the crack of daylight. And unfortunately, daylight doesn't really happen now, about 4 to 6 or 6 o'clock. But you want to be leaving the boat around at 4 and be out there at 5, ready to go. The problem is the whales in the dark are not a good mixture. So just don't go too fast. If it's good weather, just don't go too fast, particularly between here and say 36 fathoms. That's like their highway. And there's tens of thousands of them. And every year, how many customers do I? A ton of them.
A couple of them.
At least 2 have bad accidents, like right off their boats, often smash their heads up. And quite a few hit them as well, of our customers. And that's just us. So, and there's some really bad things happening. So you hit a whale yet at all? No one's hit a whale? You hit a whale?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Tell us the story.
No, it's all right. The whale was fine.
Okay. No, that's not good, Jen.
No.
But anyhow, whales are beautiful things, but they're dangerous things in the dark. So for one recommendation, when you're heading out the dark, you set about 15 or 18 knots just on the plane that you can actually pull back and stop quite quick. And visually try and see something in the distance in the direction you're heading, whether it be a trawler or a boat light in the distance. And just keep an eye on it. Hope the swell's not too big. And if that light disappears, that's a whale in front of you. As simple as that. If you've got FLIR camera on your boat, you're doing really well. That'll help you. You'll see it before you hit it, but you still probably hit it. And the most accidents I seem to happen are ones actually during the day when you are not thinking a whale's going to jump up in front of you, they just come out of the water while you're driving along. And that's the bad ones. You're doing 20 knots and you hit the brick wall. Generally they'll flip the boat or damage the boat or you smash your teeth at the front of the boat or whatever. But yeah, that's it. 90 to 120 metres, that's the next one out. That's a bit further out, that's at 40 Ks. But remember, the bottom out here is shaped like this, okay? It's like that sort of angle, very slow. So that's the shoreline, that's 36s, that's 100 metres. Then once you get to 100 metres, it goes like that. That's very quick. So you can go another 20 Ks, same distance as from 36 to 50s, and you're out in well over 1,000 metres. It's very quick. So when people say they're going out to 500 metres deep, it's really not that much further. It's another 15 minutes past the 50s, or 20 minutes. It's not much further. Okay. So do you want to understand the sound part? Zoom. On your GPS too, guys, same deal, same scenario. As you get closer to the spot, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. See yourself do a circle, donut, on the screen. And then, because there's no point in saying, okay, I'll stop here and you got it zoomed out to, say, 2 kilometres, and then I'll see how the drift is, I'll see where it moved, and look at the screen again, it didn't move. But you actually probably went 300 metres, but you're not zoomed in enough to see that. So make sure you zoom in and do that. Thanks. No, so we're snapping, guys. It's just do all the techniques we said, use what we said, take bait as reserve if you want. And if you want to use live is everything we talk about. It's more on the bait thing, but if you want to emulate live, the closest thing's going to be probably your jigs. Okay, they're shiny, they're flashing, they're flickering, and they're doing whatever. Everything else is emulating something else, but yeah.
Where are people finding that they're biting at the moment?
So look, that it's really weird. When the snapper met the start, which is normally late April, early May, they dropped off. And the big ones were here just 6 weeks prior to that, which are not normally here until July. I don't know why it's out of whack, and the water temperature had nothing to do with it because the water temperature is fairly warm. They were just in big numbers, in close, but everyone was fishing for mackerel. And the weather was crap, so not many guys got out there, mostly did focus on the mackerel fishing and didn't catch the snapper, but the ones that went snapper fishing did really well. Has anyone caught a fish over 90 yet? Cool. Hopefully you will this year. If you do, please get us a photo and send it to me. But Jenny, if I was going to go out tomorrow, so for example, this weekend the weather looks pretty good. Sunday looks really good. Sunday morning, if you're going to go out, go Sunday. Next couple of days, it's still fishable, it's 15 knots Sunday Stu. Sunday's not too bad. I'd be probably focusing on probably the 22 fathoms or between 18 and 24 fathoms. There's a lot of that low ground in that area. And I'll be focusing on straight up from the seaway.
Really?
With a tiny bit of south and not much. Yeah. Roughly speaking. I forgot about here. If I have, I made a mistake. I'll be looking around that, probably around that 20, it's about, let's see, in under 50 metres, that's obviously where we're going. If you work from the bottom up, it's around the third one from the bottom, and then the fifth one from the bottom. Oh, sorry. My apologies. I never got away with it.
You could just start saying.
Yeah. So 2756, that's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, look to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh one up. 2756, 658, 153, 30, 876. So that's just inside the 24s, and the one above it is about another sort of half a K north of it. And there'll be little clusters of little lumps there. And the one above that, is the southern end of it, so to speak. And why that one that's sitting there. So 2757 is actually south of it, but in the same general area, within about 1K.
We'll all be there in a lineup.
Yeah. No, there's also little clumps around that area, but definitely that's the area to look at. Yeah. So just remember the 24 fathom reef's on about 153.31. Okay. And that's the sort of like 43 to 45 meters. And then when you're on about 153.30, you're in sort of 22 fathoms, we call 22 fathoms. There's a reef everywhere, right? And then when you're in about 29, you're in about like 20 fathoms. And then 28 is 18 fathoms. Remember 28, 8, 18. Does that make sense? So they're like little rows, only about not even a K apart. Yeah. But all those spots are all caught fish at different times of the year. Yeah. And if you want to go to 36s, look, I'd be probably going northeast, up around, Sunday's been a good day for it. I'd probably go up around, so 36 fathom reefs, I started taking time up. But 36 fathom reefs have two, once you go north of the seaway, that's two exact ridges and exactly a nautical mile apart, so 1 k's apart. Okay. And one's in what we call about 65 up to about 62 metres, and the other one's about 67 up to about 63 metres. In between's about 67 forever, for about a K, then it comes back up again.
And that's the 36.
Yeah, 36s. So if you look at it on the 36s, that's just under 70 metres. And we're talking, so the seaway's on 2756, so anything around about 2740, 2752 actually. So 56 is the seaway, the parallel. 52 is 4 miles north of the seaway. If you look at 2752, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 numbers down, 752. And see how it's set, if you go across, it says 153.37.
Yeah.
So 37 is the outside line. Okay. And then if you go look up the page, you'll see then there's another one, 2748.37. And then there's 27, 2740, 36, 720, which is very close to 37. So that ridge goes for like 15 Ks. It does have sand spots in between it, but it pops out, goes under, pops out, goes under. Same ridge. And then on the inside one, if you look at it's got, again, the next one, it's 52, where it says 2753, just above 2752. You can see it says 153.36. So that's nearly about a K inside of it. And then you'll see there's 36 above that, 36, 36, 36. So that's the inside edge. So all those marks are in or out. And believe it or not, the snapper are either in or out. So they're not on the inside edge, they're on the outside edge guaranteed. And if they're on the outside, they'll be on the inside edge. They move. And they seem to move no matter where you are off. They're not that spot there and then this spot in south in. It'll be all along there. Hopefully that's been some help to you. Yeah. Okay. For the guys in Brisbane, you guys just got to put all these marks in. There's quite a few up that area in most of these here. There is another sheet I've got with more Brisbane marks on it. I think you might have got that. Is anyone here for the last one, the base one?
Yeah.
It was on that one, yeah, with more Brisbane marks. This is a bit different sheet.
It is a different shape.
Yeah, it's like, should be. No, quite sure it is. Yep. Okay. If it's not, let me know. Okay. That's it, Stu. Nothing else, whatever. So, any questions? Anything at all, guys?
Do you ever use mine?
No, I used to. I do use it sometimes with my bait runner. I use bait runner for snapper, and I'm bait fishing for snapper, not lures. So, but when you're lure fishing, no mine.
It's a bait you do.
Yeah, for bait. It's not always. No, but I do with my bait runner reels. You know, the ones you push the leaves and they go free swim. It doesn't twist as bad as it just works well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I use a very soft tip rod, like an old school ugly stick style or sort of power tip, whatever.
What's that for mono?
For mono, yeah, and 20-pound mono is the go, or 30 max, but 20. Yeah, and these days the mono's got thinner too. Yeah, yeah.
For the sake of sounding stupid, I've never been out the seaway,
Okay, that's fine, mate.
so trying to understand.
Yeah,
What's
see what. Yeah, so about as in how it works.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you know what's dangerous, what's not,
Yeah.
what's go and not go.
Okay, it changes a lot, but just roughly speaking, and don't hold me against this. So I can tip over and say, don't hold me. So. Just really quickly, guys, here, it's probably a good call. The swell was big today, it was like 2.4 on the sets, okay? That'll break on the seaway, especially when run out tide. But if that's the north wall and that's the south wall, this is obviously very dangerous, this whole area here, okay? That's the beach there. And sometimes those waves come in. And there's a bit of a bank, probably, I'm guessing around about this sort of area here. And this bank here does actually come out a bit at the moment like that, in front of the north wall. And you've sort of got, it's almost not be as far, like maybe to there. Actually, it's on an angle, sorry. Must have like this sort of angle.
See how quick the seaway changes?
That's it's the last two times I went out changed. So what you do, generally speaking, if the tide's running in and the swell's, anyhow, if the swell's over 1.5 metres, just be really careful, okay, that's the first thing. If it's under 1.2 or under, it's not really going to break anywhere, okay, unless it's really shallowed up, which it was when that big swell a few weeks back. It was breaking across here like a sandbar, but it's got its normal flow and it's come back to normal. But when you get seaway, this is the walls wrapping around, right? And so the wave breaks here sort of thing. So when you get seaway, the walls are that long. Sort of stick to just the north side of the middle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Slightly. And then when you get past the north wall, watch this over here and watch this over here. And when the opportunity allows, which is you're probably around about 100 metres past the south wall, I guess. This does get a bit shallow in here too, but not too bad. But you start to dog leg southeast that way. And that's when the swell's over 1.5 metres. That's going to be your go-to, generally speaking. If you got over 1.5 metres and you come up the side here and your side looks not too bad and you go take a run, they will stand up here and sometimes they'll even break. If it's over 2 metres, they're probably going to break. Okay? So this is probably the best avenue. To give you some idea, at low tide, that there's probably its deepest point, maybe about 5 or 6 metres, 6 metres maybe. Is that right, please?
Because the seaway's
6 metres.
Yeah.
6
Sorry?
metres.
Seaway's
Last
about
time.
10 metres deep.
No, that's what it's not.
No,
Six.
like when
Oh,
you're going out,
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's about 12 to 15, 20,
Oh, okay.
but then it'll just get shallow.
Okay.
But this is sometimes joins up, sometimes it doesn't. And when that big swell was on, was over sort of 2.5 meters, or 3 meters, it's pretty well cracking all across here.
It was breaking onto wave break.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the jet ski jump at the wave break.
Yeah.
So you got no chance, and it closes out over here. So you just can't go anywhere. You can't go this way because they're breaking up here. So even if the swell's only 1.2 meters, you want to go fishing northeast, I still go around I go out to about 18 meters deep, and then I'll go this way. Okay. If you go to 12 or 15, you're going to get caught on that back bank there. It's got to be about 18 or 20 to be safe. Only when the swell's under 1.2 or less a meter, then I'll shoot this way, and I stay in fairly close and then go out like that. Once I get past when the trees started south straight. Does that make sense? Yeah. You just got to be careful and watch the boats in front of you. But in the dark, if it's and you got to, before you go out, there's so many things. You got to look at the wave. So when you wake up in the morning, before you get out of bed, before you pull the sheet up, I get my phone and I look at wave height Gold Coast, wave buoy Gold Coast, and if it's saying 1.8 and 2.6 on the sets, I'm going to go back to bed because it's just too risky to go in the dark, and I might get up an hour later or something, and go to daylight.
So what do you Google?
I just type in Gold Coast wave buoy. Just wave buoy. And then the next thing is I look at the wind, and I look at it's called latest weather observations Gold Coast. Latest weather observations Gold Coast. It's the bomb thing, and it tells you the time, like from counting backwards, say from 12 o'clock till 5 a.m. And you'll see where the wind's blowing southwest or southeast, and you'll see it's 7 knots gusting to 10 knots, and it'll say kilometres an hour as well. And that's the seaway. I then jump on and go to Queensland observations, and I'll click on Point Lookout or Brisbane, whatever, and I'll have a look because that's about on the 36 fathom line sort of thing. And if it's 15 knots gusting to 22, but it's only 4 to 7 on the Gold Coast on the seaway, I'm not going to go to 36s because I know it's going to be shitty out there. Once I get out past Point Lookout and until you head sort of area in the open, and then you get smashed. So go back to bed again. Makes sense? Or go crab or something, or squidding or whatever. change plan. But so you check out that, and the last thing I do, particularly even this time of year, it's a bit dodgy, but definitely in summer, is I check the radar. This is before I take the do not. Check the radar. And if the radar, and Stu does the same I think too. And if it looks like you're going to get pissed on by weather, then I just go back to bed because I don't get wet. You know? So it depends on how much you can take of the weather, I guess. But yeah, you don't want to have a bad day. It's not worth it. But at the moment, it is worth it because the weather's been so terrible. We had an opportunity. So if you want to risk it, just do it, I guess. Years ago, there's good weather. Let's have good weather. Yeah, terrible. Anyway. Okay, anything else, Philip? That was good. Great. Thanks for your company tonight, guys. You can do the draw. Okay, Stu, mate. Ready to roll. So, Stu, should we turn off the television? Thanks everyone for watching. So, is that the alarm company full, Stu?
No.
No.